Hello and thank you for clicking on this video. This video is about trans acceptance and transphobia in the workplace, specific to the states of Kansas and Missouri. But don't go anywhere just because it doesn't relate to where you live, because this is happening all over the world. This month of November was Transgender Awareness Month. Did you know that? Not only that, but there was a specific day of remembrance for those that had passed away. I went to an event that was held, and I heard too many names called out that night as I stood in the cold grasping a melting candle in my hand. For those that don't know, the definition of transgender is denoting or relating to a person whose self-identity does not conform unambiguously to conventional notions of male or female gender. To put it simply, transgender individuals' preferred gender identity does not conform with the biological sex they were assigned at birth. Now to the states in question. Oh boy. So according to the Human Rights Campaign, both Missouri and Kansas lack gender identity protection laws for employment. This means gender nonconforming individuals, like those in the trans community, can be fired and refused employment. For shame, states. For shame. For this video, I interviewed 4 of my friends that work or have worked in either Kansas or Missouri. These accounts of discrimination and harassment are real. They are not from a random blogger's account or stories I looked up on social media sites. These experiences are 100% real, and all of these are personal to me. This might even be happening to you or someone you know. Experience number 1. Imagine applying for a job, but on your resume you have to put your dead name and non-preferred gender identity. Kind of feels like you're lying to your possible new employer when you walk in, obviously male, and sit down for the interview. It's really anxiety-provoking, and you have to sit there and explain what's going on and pretty much out yourself right then and there. Experience number 2. Picture this. I've been working at this place for a long time now, and no one gives me trouble except for this one guy. He's a 70-year-old man that simply refuses to call me by my preferred pronouns and name. So whenever I go to work and he's there, I have to deal with being misgendered and hearing my dead name from him all the time. It really sucks. Experience number 3. This one was really crazy. I go in for an interview at a new job and I come out to my employer as a transgender man just so we could get that out of the way, since I want to be referred by my preferred name and pronouns. But that doesn't happen. The employer lowers their head and then looks at me. They then say that I need to stop this trans act if I want to work here. It was shocking. I needed the job, so for the time, I had to suffer with being referred to her and she and wear my dead name on my name tag. It was humiliating. Experience number 4. When conversing with coworkers, I would be misgendered with she, her pronouns. So in a soft voice, I would ask if they would use my preferred pronouns of he, him. My response was an explosion of laughter and comments like, "You're not a guy," or "Why exactly do you think you're a guy?" We had just been talking normally a second ago, and now this. Needless to say, that was all really rude and insensitive on their part. This concludes the interviews I had conducted, but the video doesn't stop there, folks. It's knowledge time. For here on, we'll be taking a look at state laws for Kansas and Missouri in regard to changing names and birth certificate information to match one's gender identity. I'll also be listing a few statistics and where to find them on websites I looked up, and 3 studies I researched personally. Remember, knowledge is power. It has the force to break down any walls that divide us from our peers. The first knowledge point deals with Kansas and Missouri laws in regard to birth certificates and name changes. In order to obtain a legal name change in the state of Missouri, an applicant must submit a petition to the court. The applicant must publish notice of the name change at least once a week for 3 weeks in a newspaper within 20 days of the court order. According to Missouri's Department of Health, they will issue an amended birth certificate upon receipt of a certified copy of an order of a court of competent jurisdiction indicating the sex of an individual born in this state has been changed by surgical procedure and that such individual's name has been changed. To put that in short terms, in the state of Missouri, to obtain a name change on your birth certificate, you must be a post-op transgender identifying individual. Moving on to the state of Kansas, to obtain a legal name change, an applicant must submit a petition to the court as well, and is subject to the court's discretion. The applicant may need to send notice of the hearing to interested parties by mail or publish in a newspaper once a week for 4 weeks. In regard to birth certificate name changes in the state of Kansas, the Division of Vital Statistics claims it has no authority to amend the gender marker on a Kansas birth certificate, so individuals are not able to amend the gender marker on their Kansas birth certificate at this time, which really sucks. This information was collected from transequality.org. The second knowledge point deals with data collected as of May 26, 2015, recorded by catalyst.org. 1. The transgender population faces double the normal rate of unemployment. 2. 90% of transgender population experiences transphobic behavior in the workplace or would consciously avoid confrontation. Number 3. There is no state-level gender identity protection in 33 of the 50 U.S. states, so employees can be fired for being transgender. Unfortunately, both Missouri and Kansas are 2 of those 33. Other forms of data was collected by an article by Matthew Bailey in Law and Physical Review in 2013. Multiple surveys were conducted across the United States, and the findings include 1. 41% of trans-identifying people reported that they had attempted suicide. 19% reported being refused a residence such as a home or apartment for being trans. And 2, in relation to jobs, 44% reported that they were being passed over for a job, 23 were denied a promotion, and 26 were fired because of their trans identity. Now with that lump of knowledge in your head, we're going to move on to our first study that was conducted October of 2005 through April of 2006 by Michelle Dietert and Dianne Dentice, where they interviewed 26 female-to-male transgender identifying individuals and had them share their experiences with them of transphobic behavior in the workplace in the United States. So it's not specific to Kansas and Missouri anymore. And I have 2 experiences I'd like to share with you that definitely deal with pronouns and being misgendered and an overall feeling of discomfort in the workplace. Experience number 1. All I know is she was employed there one day and not the next. So I don't know exactly what happened. She was from Texas. She had never met any, this is to quote her, thing like me before. And she asked me just what you did about the pronouns. I said, I'm in the process of having my name changed legally to what it is. Why would I go by the name Jimmy if I wanted to be referred to as a girl? And she was like, oh, okay, I'm super supportive of that, blah, 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 blah. But then when somebody would call me and say, is Jimmy there? She'd say, well, she. You could tell it was intentional. First of all, if you make a mistake, just go with what you said. If you said she is on the other line, then just stick to that. Eventually, you could just tell that it was snide. Experience number 2. I work at a coffee shop and I still wear the same clothes I do outside of work. I still act the exact same way, but I am called ma'am or she a lot more often than I am in my normal day-to-day life outside of work. For me, it's a constant reminder that, hey, I really am biologically this. For the first month or 2, it really upset me because I was really so gung-ho about being this completely other type of person. And it still does get to me sometimes. It's just always a constant reminder that this is who I am, and this is still how much of the world sees me. Now, this second study was really interesting because it dealt with bathroom issues for transgender employees. It took place in 2015 in the United States and was conducted twice with undergraduate business students taking a course by the name Organizational Behavior. The first year class consisted of 194 students that were not provided additional preparation for the simulation. The second year class consisted of 221 students that were provided additional preparation in the form of an article addressing the issue of transgender employee experiences for the simulation. The simulation in question was a situation in which 2 co-workers argued about a transgender employee's right to use the bathroom of their choice. The majority of the first year class voted to take a hostile stance against the idea that the trans employee use their preferred bathroom, while the second year class voted to take a more inclusive stance for the idea that the trans employee should use their preferred bathroom. The purpose of this study was to discover new ways of teaching that would reduce transphobic attitudes and views, as I am trying to accomplish with this video myself. This third and final study is a series of interviews conducted in Southern California with 29 female to male identified transgender individuals, revealing that female to male trans received better work evaluations after transitioning than before transitioning. Taller white female to males also received more benefits than short females to males or females to males of color. However, female to males who received benefits associated with being men at work still had the same skills they had as women. In a comparative analysis of the earnings and employment experiences of female to males and males to female before and after their transitioning, it was found that females to males experienced either no change or a slight increase in pay after transitioning, where a significant decrease in pay and status was observed for males to females. These findings suggest that females to males may experience male privilege the same way or similarly to cisgender males in the workplace. If you didn't think the wage gap was a thing before now, well, you probably still won't think it is now even with this, but here you go anyway. This concludes the video, guys. Again, I want to thank you all for clicking on this and taking the time to watch it. I know it was pretty long, but I want you all to go out there and speak out against transphobic behavior. Whether it's a joke from a friend, a snide remark from coworkers, or gossip on the playground. I also encourage you all to go check out your state laws or your nation's laws on this topic of trans acceptance and other LGBT-related rights. Thank you for watching, and make sure to share this video with a friend.